They say taxi drivers meet all kinds of people. You hear all kinds of stories. Sometimes, though, a passenger isn't quite what they seem. It was around 2 a.m. The rain was pouring down, and I had just dropped off my last passenger. I was heading home for the night. It had been a slow night, so I wasn't surprised when I saw an empty road stretching out ahead of me, just the way it was behind me. Then I saw her, a young woman standing alone by the roadside in the heavy rain, head down, shoulders slumped. She was wearing a white dress, but it didn't look right. For one, it was obviously a summer dress, but it was winter now. And two, it was soaked with water. But she wasn't holding an umbrella. She didn't even seem to notice the rain. I slowed down beside her, wound down my window, and called out, "Do you need a ride? You're gonna get soaked standing there in the rain." She didn't respond for a moment. She didn't move. I thought maybe she hadn't heard me. So I leaned out a bit further and said, "Hey, you okay? Do you want a ride?" That time she did respond. She turned her head slowly. She looked up at me, and I could see that her eyes were red and swollen, as if she'd been crying. But then she looked away again and didn't say a word. So I got out of the car and walked around to her side. "How about now? Do you need a ride?" She finally nodded, and I helped her into the car. She sat quietly, hands folded on her lap. I waited for her to speak, to tell me where to go, but she didn't say anything. So after a while, I had to ask, "Where are you going? I need to know the address if you want me to take you." She finally spoke. Her voice was very soft, like a whisper. "River Bridge Road," she said. "Please." I looked at her again. Something about her tone was strange. It wasn't tired. It wasn't shy. It was just empty, like a doll's voice. And it suddenly struck me that I hadn't seen her face, because all this time she'd been staring straight ahead. She hadn't looked at me. I started the engine and pulled out onto the road. As I drove, I noticed something odd. Despite the storm outside, she wasn't wet, not a single drop on her hair or dress. And when I looked at her through the rearview mirror, her eyes seemed hollow, lifeless, like it was just a pair of black marbles sitting there. And then the temperature in the car suddenly dropped. My breath caught in my throat. I felt a cold hand grip my heart. My entire body started shaking. I tried to shake it off, to ignore it, but it just got worse. Then she said, "Stop here." I pulled over. I turned around to tell her the fare, but the back seat was empty. The only thing there was a faint scent of jasmine and a small puddle of water where she had been sitting. Shaken, I quickly got out of the car and ran around to the back. I checked the floor. There was no one there. Then I looked back at the road. She had vanished. I stood there for a long time, stunned, calling out her name, asking her to come back. But all that came back to me were the echoes of my own voice. And that's when I realized I wasn't dealing with a person, but a ghost. The ghost of a young woman who had died on that road exactly 1 year before that night. A car accident, they said. She had been on her way to a friend's house, laughing, talking on the phone, when the driver suddenly slammed on the brakes. They hit the bridge too fast, and she had been thrown from the car. I never saw her ghost again, but sometimes on those dark, rainy nights, I hear the echo of her voice. She whispers my name, begging me to stop, to let her out. And then she laughs, a hollow, haunting sound that chills me to the bone. If you want to hear more scary taxi driver stories, stay tuned.